Alright, Shalom, Shalom. This is your brother Issachar, coming back to you with another lesson. First and foremost, before I get started, I want to give all praises, all honor and glory to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Makrak. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, and the 144,000 scattered across the four corners of the earth. Shalom to you. Alright, in today's lesson, we're going to go into comfort one another with these words. Alright, because, we're coming to a time of, wars, pestilence. Okay, right now the spirit's heavy on, Edom, the so-called white man, coming in with great wrath, because he knows that he have a short time. So, you gotta just really get your mindset, as I made in my previous video, that you really have to reflect back on these scriptures. Okay, you really gotta apply these scriptures. This ain't no thing where it's just because if you don't truly believe in these scriptures in the Lord, you're not gonna make it. You can't be a yeah person. You truly have to. You truly got to. You truly got to believe in these scriptures. And you truly got to believe in the Lord, because we're coming to a time that is really going to test our faith. But the Lord is going to help His hopeful elect. See? So this is something that is it's very heavy. It's something that's been on my spirit. Just to Lord willing, comfort the hopeful elect out there. Because don't forget about the our forefathers. Okay, don't forget about the days of old. Okay, have any believed in the Lord, trusted in the Lord, and was confounded? No, the Lord always came through. But you gotta truly believe. That's the thing. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 and verse 12, and we're going to go all the way down to the 18th verse. That ye may walk honestly toward them that are without, and that ye may have lack of nothing. Alright, that word lack means want. Okay? Remember what King David said. Psalms 23:1, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Okay, because you're not, don't be, you're not supposed to have wanton eyes out here. You're not supposed to be jealous of the wicked, and be like, oh, hey, I want that, Ferrari, and, I want the Flash, and, the TV show and all that, like Nick Cannon, they want all the Flash, IUIC, come on, what are they all about? The clout, they want all the attention. You see, they're not serving the Lord at all. Because Apostle Gabar, he made a video yesterday that I believe it was the 7 things you gotta have to know if you're truly serving if you're serving the Lord and teaching the Lord 100% truth. And the first thing that was on there was the names of the Heavenly Father, and His only begotten Son, Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. That's number one, baby. That's number one. So the fact that, Genesis, IUIC, that's a telltale sign, that if you're not teaching in the names of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, then, you sold out, Yeah, you sold out, or the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai is not truly dealing with you. Because there's a lot of congregations out there. It's just that IUIC, Genesis. All right, we get on them a lot because, they have a lot of people in the congregation you know. But there's a lot of congregations out there. There's a lot out there actually, you know. So you know, this is just something to you know, you have to gird up your lines. You know, gird up your lines like a man. You know, prepare yourselves. You know, and know that this is no joke. You know, it's a very serious ordeal where the society out here, as we know it worldwide, you know, is gonna crash. You know, to you know, work. All right, get your FRNs. You know, if you're over there in the EU and Europe, okay, yeah, you know all this, you know all that, you know, like euro dollar and all that, that's gonna crash. Okay, all that's gonna crash. All right, you know, and life as we know it, as far as you know, as far as you know, going to work and you know, have your daily routine, getting your coffee, going to the gym, whatever your, you know, your routine is, you know, it's going to, it's going to change out here, dramatically, you know, big time. Okay, so this is this is something that is you know, very very heavy, you know, because let's talk about what happened with our let's talk about what happened with Moses, okay? Because what happened with Moses? All right, Moses. Okay, so Moses, when he was when the Lord told him to tell Pharaoh that I am, and when he said, "Surely I'm going to be with thee," you know, because Moses was like, "Who am I to go against the Pharaoh?" You know, because just for those who don't know, um, you know, ancient Egypt, they were stronger than America. Look how strong America is. Okay, ancient Egypt was no joke. Okay, you know, you want to talk about power? Man, you know, they were doing it. You know, let's put it to you like that. You know, they weren't just some small little kingdom. No, ancient Egypt. Hey, man, they were big. You know, so that's why Pharaoh's like, this is why Moses told Yahweh, like, man, who am I to go to Pharaoh? You know, you see. But the Lord's like, surely I'm going to be with thee, like, you know, and look at you know, just to show you that the Lord, he don't work with big numbers, you know, like IUIC and ISUBK, you know, they all want, you know, they just want numbers, you know, because they just want people to come into their camp, you know, for money, for clout, and to be all popular. And like, oh, look, we have all these people in our group. So what? You know, you guys are not teaching the truth. I remember the Lord don't work with big numbers. Who did the Lord use? Only Moses and Aaron. That's it. Okay, and the Lord, okay, plagued that place, all right, and showed his power through his servant Moses and Aaron. Okay, all right. So this is just to show you, you know, the Lord only used two men, Moses and Aaron. You know, Aaron helped them. You know, because Aaron, he you know, he was like a good speaker. You know, so Aaron helped Moses. But that's it. You know, he didn't. The Lord didn't say, "All right, man, we got to get an army and you know, we got to take down the Egyptians." Nah, the Lord said, I'm only going to use my servant Moses and Aaron. This to show you, you know, this time the Lord's only going to pick up his elect, which is consists of the men, women, and children, the 1/3 of the children of Israel, which is 33.3%, and the 144,000. Okay, that's Yahweh's brothers. You gotta remember that the Lord has brothers. This is something that they don't teach in the congregations. Yeah, because a lot of people might think, well, hey, Yahweh, he's the only one. No, he's not. He's the first. Okay, the only begotten, that means the first. Okay, but there's 144,000. Okay, the only begotten, that means the first. Okay, It doesn't say the one and only. The only begotten means the first. Okay, and this is why it's very important, starting with the apostles on down, the elders on down, I encourage you to research your words. Okay, because once you know what these words mean, it brings more weight to your understanding. It brings more weight to your understanding. You see, so because once you know what these words mean, it's like, oh, okay, man, like, oh, all right, I get it now. Because you're not just winging it, you're not just guessing. See, if you're a teacher, that's a very dangerous game to play. Because you gotta know what you teach, especially if you're picking up this book. But for those of you learning out there, yeah, this is why you don't want to go whatever you feel is right. You want to go according to what the Lord's words are. All right, this is why Revelation 3 and verse 10, it's because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, because thou hast kept the word. Remember, it's not what you feel is right. It's not your opinion. It's not to put you guys down out there, It's to show you that, we're talking about the Heavenly Father here, the creator of the heavens and the earth, It's a very serious ordeal here. So, it's like, it's, when you have, like Moses, okay, the Lord didn't say, okay, Moses, well, I'm going to destroy the Pharaoh like this. And once you guys get out of here, you guys are going to run into a dead end, and the Pharaoh's going to be chasing you guys. And but don't worry, Moses, I'm going to open up the Red Sea, the Gulf of Suez. Okay, the Lord didn't break it all down to him. The Lord just said, trust in me, I got you. All right, but even Moses didn't know, because when they even came to the point of the Red Sea, all right, he didn't know. He was like, damn, man, this is kind of like a dead end. But the Lord came through. See, he showed another miracle. He had Moses split the waters, but the Lord didn't break it down to that in the beginning. Okay, same thing how the Lord is telling his elect today, because he's not telling you exactly how he's gonna save you, because some, you just know that when the Lord gets here in those ships, the elect are gonna go up in those ships. But remember, He's not telling us, okay, who's gonna make it and who's not. Okay, because remember, some of the elect members, they are gonna be martyrs. But when the Lord gets here, Yahushua with the angels, they are gonna go up into those spaceships, the so-called UFOs. Hey, But the Lord's not telling us, okay, well, you're gonna make it. All right, this brother, he's not gonna make it, but don't worry, I'm gonna resurrect him when I come back. We don't know that. See that? So it's just, hey. It's just like the time of Moses. Okay, because remember, when Moses was in the wilderness, okay, remember that, he didn't show him, like, he didn't have like an RV, they didn't show him, they didn't have all that. It was literally the wilderness, he didn't have a plan and tell Moses, okay, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. Once you get here, I'm going to do that. No. Okay, the angels came through, gave him angel bread, manna, fed him quail, right? See? So that's how it is, because you have to just believe, and the Lord's going to come through. Didn't he not? The Lord sustained us for 40 years. Okay? The Lord sustained us for 40 years. You got to remember that. All right? So it's that's a light thing for the Lord, just to remember what he did with Samson. Okay? He made he put the spirit on Samson, and he destroyed 1,000 Philistines. And he made water come out of a jawbone of a donkey, an ass. Just to let you know the Lord can do anything. But you just got to do your part. Do you believe? So that's something that's very heavy here, because we're in a time where we don't know. Because the Lord, he's not telling the hopeful elect, plan for plan, step by step, page by page. Okay, look, when they do this, when the elites crash it down, okay, all right, you're going to go to this brother's house. And then you're going to go to that house, and then I'm going to take you guys over here. No, he ain't telling us none of that. He's just telling us to believe, and he got it. See? That's how the Lord works. Because it's do you believe? He's not going to show us the whole breakdown of the blueprint and say, okay, look, when it breaks down, I'm gonna have you go over here, and then I'm gonna fly you guys to Chicago, and then when that happens, we're gonna go over here to Hawaii. No, he ain't saying none of that. Okay, it's just, do you believe? All right, well, I got you, but do you believe? Same thing with Moses. Okay, all right. See, he didn't tell him, oh, once you run to the dead end, to the Red Sea, don't worry, when the Pharaoh catches up to you, I'm going to open up the Red Sea for you. Don't worry about it. I got you. I got it all dialed in. Nah, he didn't tell Moses all that. He didn't tell him like that. So, this is something that you have to, you guys got to understand, because, but the Lord, he is going to come through for his elect. But the Lord is yeah, so this is something that is it's something that that's something that that's something that is very heavy here, because you really got to have your belief on an all-time high. Verse 13, but I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep, okay, that ye sorrow not, right? Even as, okay, check it out, because those who pass away are in the truth, check it out, even as others which have no hope, right? Because, once again, when, just because people pass away, remember, that also don't mean that they're not part of the hopeful elect, because there could be people that, pass away, but they're part of the hopeful elect, all right? Yeah, and when the Lord gets here, they're going to be risen first. Remember that. Okay, so this is things that you guys got to know. All right, remember, not everybody's a member of the hopeful elect, but also just because you may lose your life in the near future, which is a big possibility. Okay, it's a possibility. It's a possibility, because the Lord is gonna have martyrs. If you're part of the hopeful elect, He's gonna come through. But there are gonna be there are gonna be a few martyrs. Remember that, But remember, if you're an Israelite, there's a big possibility that you're not gonna make it. Okay, the chances are greater than little. Okay, because remember, he's only picking up the 1/3 in 144,000. So there's more than half that are going to die of the Hebrew Israelites that are scattered across the planet Earth. You see? So that right there, you have to already have that in the head of, like, okay. So, as far as the elect, remember, just because you get put down doesn't mean that, I wasn't part of the hopeful elect. No, our Lord died. Our Lord got crucified. Okay? All right? Look at all the apostles. Okay? Peter, Paul, John the Baptist. Huh? Zechariah. It's very, but, those are the prophets. You see? But just because they got put down doesn't mean that they're not part of the hopeful elect. You see? Like Captain Tazariak, saying that John the Baptist fell that you. That guy's he's just a retard, He just what you call a dum-dum, Man. But this is just to educate the hopeful elect out there, to let you know, what we're really involved in, and what's really gonna partake out here. You see? Because it's not all just fun and games, and I'm an Israelite, and hey, it's all good. Nah, man. Hey, you better buckle down and know, what time it is, and understand that the Lord's arriving, and the Lord is not a respecter of persons. Yes, He wears hopeful elect, but remember, if you're fucking around, all right, excuse my time, if you're fucking around, and you're not, and you're a pretender, hey, remember, the Creator is coming. I'll say that one more time. The Creator, He is coming, and He's actually going to come down here. He's not going to show His face in the sky, He's coming down here 10 toes down on the ground. Imagine, what his angels. Hey, hey man, you know, this ain't nothing to play. So it's just something to, just educate you guys out there, let you know, all right, look, check it out. This is what's going on. We're breaking it down to you to let you know what's going to really happen out here. All right, but remember, just because you do, like let's say if a family member does get put down or something like that, because there are going to be some martyrs, you're going to be risen first with the Lord in the air, and then the rest of the elect are going to be picked up by the angels. All right. So those who have to perish, like if martial law, however, because the Lord has different lots for the members of the elect, but there are only a few. Remember, there's only a few martyrs because we already went through all that when all the apostles and the prophets were slain, except John the Revelator. Okay. All right. So we already went through that. So this time, the Lord is going to be with His elect, but there are going to be a few martyrs. So you have to understand that. And so those who perish are going to be risen first, and then the rest of the elect that are still around, because the Lord's going to sustain them, just like He did in the wilderness. There's secret places in the earth. The Lord's going to hide and protect His elect. The Lord's going to remember the angels are going to be out here. The angels are going to step outside those ships. So it's a very beautiful thing. Verse 13, but I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep. See? So don't be ignorant. Don't be like, oh man, oh Lord, man, you took away my son, my daughter, start cursing out the Lord. How dare you? So those people, because who did that? Kobe's ex-wife. Remember when Kobe died, he said, oh, I'll never forgive God. Hey, woe unto that woman, She sounds like, what she sounds like? She sounds like Job's wife. Remember when Job's wife said, curse the Most High and die? See? Remember? But this is why the apostles say, hey, don't mess with the end of right now, Because for real, if she don't have her way, she's either going to cuss you out or she's going to cuss the Lord out. It's like, damn, Shit, but there are a few righteous sisters out there, But damn, right now, the end of shit, man. If they don't get their way, fuck. They're either gonna cuss you out or they're gonna cuss the Lord out. They're like beasts. They're like animals right now. But that's all right. The Lord's gonna put them in their place. There's a great humbling coming out here. To you filthy ass degenerates out there. Who are disrespectful. That's all right. Run your mouth. Because the Lord's about to starve a lot of you out. And a lot of you women are out of weight. All fat, talking shit. Huh? Let's hear it. That ye sorrow not, even as others which have no hope. See? Because when family members die, a lot of people think that that's the end all be all. It's because you don't have no truth. You have no true hope in the Lord. Okay, this is why you start. Some of you guys, I know it hurts because we're in the flesh, but this is why you have to understand. Right here, we're reading it. Okay, let's see here. Damn. So this is 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 and verse 13. But I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep. See, so those who pass away, okay, that ye sorrow not, even as others which have no hope, because they have no hope. Why? For if we believe this, because this is why. Okay, let's read it. All right, let's do this. Let's let the scriptures do the talking. Verse 14. For if we believe that Yahushua died and rose again, even so, them also which sleep in Yahushua will the Most High Yahweh bring with Him, because He's gonna raise them first. Okay, the Lord is gonna raise them up first. All right, because the elect who have to perish, because you know how it is. We're coming to the end. of the Lord's movie, you know, and it's about to be action packed. But like let's say like an Avengers movie, an Avengers movie, like a superhero movie. When you're coming to the end, hey, people die, You always have like good friends, like they have to give up their lives to save like another friend's life, you know. It's just the way it is. So we're coming to the end of that, where there's gonna be people like that, who are brave, who are gonna lay down their lives just to save another's, You know what I'm saying? Because we're coming to that time where, you know, where, you know, um, we are gonna get physical, where the elites, okay, and their Gestapo troops, okay, are going to fight against Yahushai, the angels, and 144,000. Oh yeah, okay. So, so that there is going to be a time, remember, of those who, it's just like anything else, where some people are going to lose their lives, But remember, who always wins at the end? The good guys, okay, the righteous, you see? So, but it's just like anything else, like any other movie, Like towards the end, you have two sides going at it. You're always gonna have a few people on both. Well, the wicked is gonna get totally annihilated, The wicked, except the very few heathens that the Lord wants for the few crops in slavery. But everybody else is gonna be hunted down, But it's just like anything else, You there's gonna be a few martyrs, who have to give witness and testimony for the Lord. But the Lord, remember what the Lord says. Remember, don't have your head down like, oh man, that brother died or that sister died. Remember, hey, it's precious to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. All right, to those who go out, but that believe and trust in Him. That's precious to the Lord. So you gotta remember, okay, it's not just like, oh man, it's the end all be all, and man, what the hell, Nah. Okay, this is why you gotta understand these scriptures, baby. Okay, because that's precious. Because if somebody passed away but they were still in the faith, then hey man, that's precious in the eyes of the Lord, because they held on to their faith all the way to the end, baby. See? So remember, just because someone passes away doesn't mean, oh hey, it's the end all be all. Nah, not at all. Verse 15. For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, that which we are alive to remain unto the coming of the Lord Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai shall not prevent them which are asleep. For the Lord Himself, okay, check it out. Alright, verse 16. For the Lord Himself shall descend from heaven with a shout. Because the Lord, He's coming down here, literally. Alright, in those spaceships, so-called UFOs, so-called UAPs, with the voice of the archangel and with the trump of the Most High. And, oh, here we go, okay? Check it out. And the dead, so those who believe in the Lord, but they had to pass away from, any reason, they had to give up their lives to try to save, friend members. Let's say there was like an army coming and they had to like just sacrifice themselves, just to let their family get away, like go out the back door. Hey, there's gonna be accounts like that, Who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen, You know how it is. I mean, we're coming to the end of a movie, of an action-packed movie. So, you're gonna have things like happen like that, where people are gonna be like, like heroes, You're gonna have people doing righteous things like that, like sacrificing themselves just to like help out like their team or their families, which is part of the hopeful elect, right? Okay. And the trump of the Most High Yahweh and the dead and Yahushai, okay, Hamashiach, shall rise first. So wait a minute. So when He passed away, it's not the end all be all? No. Okay, because when I was out there teaching, okay, some Edomite came up to me and he's like, hey man, he goes, no, there's not no God. Once you're dead, that's it, you're gone. It just shows you that, hey man, these Edomites, they're bases of men, okay? They're cave dwellers. The true Edomites are, remember, they don't believe in God. And remember, if those of you out there that look like so-called white people, but you believe in the Lord, you're an Israelite because it's a spirit. Because you know a real Edomite, you guys believe in Satan and Baphomet. Okay, don't even play games. Okay, you guys are the sons and daughters of Satan. Okay, you know, and true Edomites will know that. You know, but remember that just because you look like a so-called Caucasian, remember this is not a black thing. This thing's not about color at all. You can look like a straight up so-called Asian. You could look like a straight up so-called East Indian. Okay, you guys gotta remember that in these times. Okay, you gotta judge the spirit first. Okay, because you can't just say, "Oh, look at this Edomite." What if that person believes in the Lord? Okay, you gotta, hey man, you gotta trust the spirit. Judge righteous judgment. You know. And with the trump of the Most High, and the dead and Yahushua Hamashiach shall rise first. So, what does that mean? So if you die, it's not the end all be all. Okay, when the Lord gets here, you're gonna rise first in those spaceships, and you're gonna have a window seat right next to Yahushua and Michael, the archangel. You're gonna be right there with them. Okay, and then the rest of the elect are gonna be risen. All right, around the world. You know, let's say if some had to be held in concentration camps, you know, some brothers and sisters were just, you know, all around the world, you know, because the Lord's gonna have them protected, the elect. All right, but that doesn't mean that you're not gonna be tested, you know, and go through some stuff. But you know, at the end of the day, if you trust in the Lord, He's always gonna come through on time. Not when you want Him, but because it's a test. Remember, but do you believe? You see? Huh? All right. Remember, like Yahushua, like when Yahushua would perform these miracles, he would always say, "Do you believe I can do this?" You know, because it's, do you believe for real, not just yeah, well, whatever. Let's see. Nah, do you believe, my nigga? Okay, I'm giving you that shit. Okay, do you believe? Huh? See, verse 17. Then which are alive and remain shall. Here we go. Okay, check it out. It's all right here. Okay, verse 17. This is the rest of the elect. All right, who weren't, you know, who are still alive, and there's gonna be a lot more. There's gonna be a lot of the hopeful elect who are still gonna remain. Okay, you know, remember there's only gonna be a few martyrs, but the Lord's gonna protect the majority of the elect, but there are gonna be a few. Okay. So, let's go. Verse 17. Then we which are alive, okay, the elect of the nation of Israel, and remain, shall be caught up together with them in the clouds, in the spaceships, okay? And remember, Revelation 1:7, behold, he cometh with clouds. Not talking about regular clouds, okay? The spaceships, so-called UFOs, all right? The chariots of Israel. To do what? To meet the Lord in the air. Damn. See? So the Lord's actually coming down here. You see? And so shall we ever be with the Lord. Because once the Lord gets here, He has new bodies for the hopeful elect, for the men, women, and children. Okay, you're going to be superhuman. You're going to be extraterrestrial. Right now we have terrestrial bodies, but we're going to be extraterrestrial. Okay, we're going to be, like right now we're human, right? We're going to be superhuman. Okay, it's just like that, you know. All right, and remember, so there's gonna be no more death, no more crying, no more sickness. Okay, the reason why we're suffering like this is because we're underneath the curses. And remember, we're a nation out here in exile because we messed up against the Lord. It doesn't mean just you know, treat everybody like shit. No, man. Okay, yeah, we're a slave, but carry yourself a certain way. You know, remember, you're supposed to leave off the ways of this world, but not just give up and, you know, when you go out to the store, treat people like shit. Hey, if you gotta hold the door open for somebody, hold the door open, you know? Tell people good morning, hey, thank you. Have some dignity about yourself, you know? Have some manners. You know? You 2/3, you clowns, you degenerates are, man, you know? Like Apostle Rakal says, you know? He's like, you motherfuckers, you know? Because he's right, you know. He's like, you motherfuckers, you know. Excuse my Italian. Because you um you 2/3, man. Because now that the police have, like, body cams and stuff, and like these fast food restaurants have all these cameras, now we can see what you 2/3 are doing. You guys, man, you guys are really straight demons. I mean, if you guys don't get your chicken sandwich at Popeyes, you're gonna destroy the whole fucking restaurant. I mean, there's fries available, there's mashed potatoes, and remember that that person that's ready to register, most likely he's an Israelite or she's an Israelite. She's your brother and sister. And you're over here gonna over here and destroy them and throw shit at them because they ran out of a chicken sandwich. Come on, you know, come on. I mean, hey, and it's not their fault sometimes. And like, let's say, okay, like, you write a bad review, but you're gonna tear up the whole restaurant because of that. I mean, what kind of shit is that? you know I mean, yes, there is times where the Israelites do get mistreated here, right? Because Esau is ruling. There's times when we get thrown under the bus. Shit does happen, right? Right. But there's times where you Jakes are acting like complete buffoons out here, you know? And just because you guys ran out of a chicken sandwich or something like that at Popeyes, you get all crazy and destroy the cash register and destroy those restaurants. I've seen it. I've seen it on YouTube. And you Jakes out here are walling the fuck out. This is why the Lord says, you 2/3, oh no, I'm going to put you guys down. This is why the Lord says, I'm going to lay you 2/3 the fuck down. Excuse my Italian. Because you guys are a bunch of degenerates and gremlins. My goodness. It's a damn shame. Shit. What the hell's wrong with you, Jake? The hell's the matter with you, Jake? I've seen it, Yeah. What the hell? And hey man, those people that work at those registers, they're just doing their job, They can only tell the manager, every now and then, all right, hey, we're running food or supplies, and the manager can only take it to the upper management, and it takes time for that food truck to get the delivery. If they run out, they run out. I mean, hey, it happens. And sometimes too, sometimes you get busy and you forget. Hey, sometimes it's an honest mistake where they didn't even try to, because sometimes, you got managers that need to be fired, true. But sometimes, you get so busy, and you know how it is. Sometimes you forget about stuff. It happens. We're in the flesh. You forget, damn, you know what? I forgot to order fries. Damn, it happens, Like, damn, I forgot to order, tater tots, whatever. It happens, This is why you have checklists. You have to go through your deliveries and all that. It's a whole process, But it's like, damn, you're going to destroy the whole restaurant because they didn't have a chicken sandwich? But that just shows, like, don't be out there like them, Because just because we say you have to have a hatred for this world, it's not like, oh, just go around and just treat people like shit. No, it just means that you have to hate the ways of the wicked. That way, when this new world order, when these elites come down with this new world order, you're gonna be fully committed in the Lord. That you're not gonna take the RFID microchip, which is the MOTB. Okay, all right, because the cherry on top is the mark of the beast. Okay, you gotta remember that. All right, so remember these elites, they're not gonna finish it, but the Lord is gonna allow them to get people going. Okay, He is gonna allow them to chop off heads and those guillotines. That is gonna happen. It's prophecy. Remember, it's just what the Lord has is written, it's prophecy. Verse 17, then we which are alive, so those are the elect who are still alive, and there's going to be many. Okay, remember, it's only going to be a few martyrs. So this is something that you have to, you just got to know. Okay, and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds. Right, with them. Okay, who? Because your brothers and sisters that died in the faith, they're already going to be with the Lord and the angels in those ships. See that? So if you're still around, you say, hey man, my brother passed away or my sister passed away, but she believed, check it out. You're going to be caught up together, listen up, with them. Because it's not just the Lord, it's not, which is amazing, not just the angels, but with them, your family members, okay, and friends, your brothers and sisters that perished in the faith. Because they're going to be with them, because they're going to be risen first. Because the Lord is going to rise them up first. Because it's precious. Because they held on to their faith all the way till death. So the Lord's gonna raise him up first, because that's honor right there. So the Lord is gonna raise him up first. You see, you know, the Lord is gonna raise him up first. See, so you're gonna be caught up with them. So remember that. And these times when if your friends or family members have to get put down, remember it's not just, you don't gotta look up and say, why, Lord, hey, it's because it was that time and that was a test. You gotta remember that. Okay? And that is just that individual's lot. Then we which are alive, which remain, shall be caught up together with them in the clouds. Because your brothers and sisters are, all right, your brothers in the faith, your sisters in the faith, okay, who lost their lives, they're going to be already with the Lord and the angels in those ships. Okay, because remember how we just read in the previous verse, they're going to be risen first. And then the Lord is going to gather the rest of the elect, according to St. Matthew chapter 24, verse 30 and 31. See that? So remember that. So you don't got to be all, you got to understand how, what's going on here. If you're an Israelite, if you die, it's not the end all be all, Remember that. To meet the Lord in the air. Okay? To meet the Lord in the air. And so shall we ever be with the Lord. Okay? Alright? Because remember, the Lord has our new bodies. Verse 18. Alright, oh yeah, remember, because we're going to be immortals. Remember that Yahushua has everybody's bodies, not just the 144. He has new bodies for the men, women, and children that believe in the Lord. Okay, that are the elect. Yep. Remember, we're all going to be immortal. And then the 2/3, those of you right now that are acting silly, acting foolish, you're going to be born back as immortal in the kingdom. You're going to have your head down for a little while, but that's how much mercy the Lord has on his children. That those of you guys right now who are being silly, being foolish, you're still going to inherit the benefits of the kingdom. It's just that you're going to come in the second round, when the elect, procreate, when they have children in the kingdom. See that? Verse 18, wherefore comfort one another with these words. Because this is why the Lord, Yahushua, told Peter 3 times, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? He said, yea, Lord. And he said, feed my sheep, feed my lambs, feed my sheep. Because you comfort one another with these words. It's not just, remember, with all thy wisdom, with all thy knowledge, you got to get understanding. So you got to understand what's going to happen here. Okay, so you got to understand there is going to be a few martyrs. Some people, they're not all Israel who are Israel. You got to see the big picture here. Okay, you got to understand what's about to happen out here. So with that, that's it on today's lesson. And comfort one another with these words. Keep it pushing, keep it pushing, Akim. Push these shows until these devils shut this thing down. And I'm just speaking as a man. I feel in the spirit it's going to be very soon. So hey, but that's all right, because once the Lord allows these elites to cause a famine of the word, that's it. It's going to be judgment without mercy out here. And the Lord is going to protect his elect with the angels. Absolutely. You guys got to believe that. And I know you guys do, but it's just just from one soldier, of Yahweh Shemel Shai to another. Keep the faith on your feet, soldier. Shalom.